Yep. Excellent. So let's then move on to item 11. This is the closeout report on Puna Sports Hub Stage 1. Darren, welcome to the table. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the report. Looks like you've got a presentation.
Well, I did. David Bailey is racing his way here, so if I can just tread water for about a minute until he arrives.
Yep.
Closeout report for the Puna Sports Hub Stage 1 project, completed 2 years ago, open in March 2019. This is the closeout report, which covers what we did, how we did it, the costs, the timeframes, and some of the key highlights. I'm happy to take questions, and hopefully David's going to turn up, otherwise we'll have to move on.
All right, that's fine. Anne?
I've got about 5 questions.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Yep, cool. Okay, yeah, sorry. Am I allowed 4? Okay.
Start with the first one and let's see how we go.
Okay, just thinking about the eco trail and the boundary trees that were in the original recommendations, and where are we at with those, and yeah, where are we at with those?
I don't know at the moment,
right.
so David may have better intel on that.
Okay, we'll keep moving then. So that doesn't count, that one, all right?
Let's move on to number 2.
Update?
Oh, you've been...
Okay, Anne, do you want to repeat the question for David's benefit?
I actually mentioned this to David earlier.
No.
It's the same question, Phil, so it's all right. Eco Trail, just the recommendation right from the beginning.
Yep.
How does that, what does that look like, and how's
So
it going?
there has been improvements with Eco Trail, especially around road crossings and surfaces, some more hard surface as opposed to gravels, more planting that's gone on, and certainly the linkages to the rest of the drainage basin work that was completed. And so it's certainly enhanced and still there. And one of the comments I'd make is that the facility is, like it always was, a beautiful place for people to walk with their dogs and watch birds, and it still is. Yeah,
it's fantastic, and so many people are using it. It's great. So any opportunity for some extension through Aidenfield School to the back there, so that people can park their cars and walk through?
So
hey, let's remember this is a closeout report we're dealing with on a project which has occurred.
But this is ongoing stuff as well, because anyway.
Yeah.
So
it's an opportunity.
What we'd be planning to do next financial year is within the LTP is to plan stage 2 of Puna, which could include some of those elements and discussions with the community.
The parking, this is maybe also going forward, but the comment about the taking the overflow of parking and how that's been used 12 times during the time. With the Netzel Centre, is there work going on to deal with that going forward?
So Parks colleagues are busy doing that work at the moment, planning how the traffic would work in partnership with the Netzel facility, where we would have the overflow parking, whether we'd need to bring in a second entranceway, and so that work has been active at the moment.
Right, great. And final question, just in terms of the learnings from this, you did an awful lot of great work and joining with, involving community in this process, and I saw that wasn't really mentioned as a learning. I don't know if that was, or whether, because it was really significant what you did. I think.
And sorry that I'm late.
That's right. You've been waiting around here all day.
I could possibly address that in some of the comments that I've had the opportunity to take it through that I was going to do in addition to the report being read.
Let's ask the chair.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Andrew, is it appropriate for me to share some comments?
Please. Darren started in your absence just in the interest of time, but we'd welcome that. Thank you.
Great. So, kia ora everyone. I do want to just sort of seize the opportunity to be able to just talk briefly about the whole project. Obviously, people will be well aware that this came about through the post-earthquake situation where a number of facilities were damaged. The Sports Code Sport Canterbury Council completed planning post the earthquakes, which culminated in the council approving the master plan for Puna Sports Hub in about 2014-15, which incorporated current best practice facility design and operations. The master plan was estimated to cost $107 million. It is judged at the end of stage 1 that the council and its community partners have delivered on stage 1 of this plan, achieving more than 70% of the master plan components for approximately 50% of the estimated total project cost. This project in many instances exemplified great practice, including the sport and recreation users at the heart of the design. Right at the very start of the project, we took all the project staff, some of the users and contractors down to the site and talked to them about what the site was. We actually got them to take their shoes off and stand in the grass and actually appreciate this place, understand where it had come from, and then try and stand in the shoes of the people that were going to Timaru, the people that were going to Blenheim, to be able to use facilities that were no longer in Christchurch, and remember what they were designing the place for and remember who they were working with, as opposed to just sitting in their offices and not being aware of what the place is and could become. The community had been, the second element was that the community was involved in all levels of the work, the design, the operational design, the practical works, and importantly, the project governance. The internal council collaboration and leadership was exemplary. The collaboration with the drainage work and the approvals for that, and to mention Peter Christensen, Sylvia McLaren in particular, with the innovative thinking where we were able to, they needed to get rid of some gravel, they were pricing to get rid of some gravel, we needed to buy some gravel, we didn't have to buy that gravel, we just needed to move it somewhere else. There was something like several thousand truck movements that did not need to occur because there was some smart, simple thinking going on within council, and it was fantastic to watch it. We ended up using gravel from Lancaster Park demolition. Again, that helped that project come in under budget. We were able to reuse some stuff. It actually helped giving cheap access to some facilities back there. And those are just some simple examples. We used old seats from QE2 Stadium that were in storage that could be used into this place again. It was heartening to watch that. Number 4, Māori culture was integral to the design, providing the historical narrative and creating the future narrative. Number 5, the project culture was always best for a project. Nearly all the contractors, council staff, community partners created this best for a project approach, and I wanted to tell 2 stories. One was about Jane O'Toole, that many of you will be aware. She helped put together a procurement plan. We were under immense time pressure because Leanne had set me this target of being able to build this thing within 12 months. And so on the night that she was about to fly home to England for Christmas, she was still working at the airport on the procurement plan and then sent it back to staff the next day so we could continue to work on it. And that was the sort of dedication that the staff had to this. Another example was that the contractors led by HEB actually paid for and funded their own workshops with their own staff, with all their contractors and other colleagues alongside to come along and bring experts in to talk about culture of working together and how this would happen. It wasn't required by their contractor. They just understood that that was what was going to be best for the situation. Number 6, the partnership approach not only occurred within the leadership work, but also with generating the funds for the work to occur. Nearly $12 million of the $55 million project was contributed by sports partners, philanthropic contributions and commercial partners. I think that set a new benchmark for work in council, in particular in Christchurch. The project was not without its challenges. Some of the early design work and coordination provided some significant hurdles for us, and the governance and the project group had to manage our way through that. Accessibility access is good, but could be better as thinking continues to evolve. We completed the work during 2 of the wettest winters on record, and this unfortunately consumed our contingency, and it was tragic to watch that occur. And the final challenge is that we committed to an Olympic date of an international televised event to make sure we got the thing open in time to then be able to do that. That made Darren and I get grayer.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, one of the learnings is it would have been good to have one overarching contractor. However, the time pressures we had, we did what we did. So at risk of leaving some names out, I want to applaud and appreciate several people on behalf of the community. Simon Batrick for the initial planning, leadership and community connection. Darren Moses and his team, in particular Scott Bennett, ACOM's Nathan Turner and Chris Rennick. Angela Leatherby within my team, Julian Falloon and his team at Sport Canterbury, Darren Charity from Sport NZ and then the Adventure Park, who set the benchmark for us that we should follow. So many of our shared service colleagues, in particular Michael Down from Finance and Kaharoa, from the CEO's office. And significantly, our community-centred project governance group, including Canterbury Athletics, Hockey, Tennis and Rugby League. The leadership and support of John Fulsell, Mary Richardson and more recently Nigel Cox, and last but not least, the 2 community boards of Puna and Waihora. And the councillors for their wisdom and perspective and encouragement as needed in conversations. Yanni, Jimmy, Anne, Tim, Andrew and Leanne. And then all of you and your predecessors at this table when hard decisions and directions were required. The project was delivered within budget, for each stage of the work, and I would like to think it also was done in time. Our Puna Sports Hub has been recognised with national awards for its community and user-centred approach and project management success. The community outcomes have been achieved. The space is still a special place for dog walkers and bird lovers. We estimated we'd have 250,000 participations by the end of year 4. We'll be at 215 by the end of year 2, even with COVID. We will knock this goal out of the park, particularly due to the wider community use of this space, not just the 4 codes. More sports and recreation groups want to be part of this place and what it represents. The community members of the project governance groups are now the basis for a fledgling trust that provides ongoing community-based strategic leadership advice and ongoing development activation of the place. The 2 final comments I want to share is that we wanted to have, and this is a story that demonstrates what we did, we wanted to have some way of symbolising the historical and developing culture of Ngā Puna Sports Hub. We asked for a price from the consultants. We fell off our chairs. We had a few days to go to the opening celebration, so we talked, connected, and we did what was best. Kaha, Scott and I then went to Littleton Port Company. They shut down their quarry for us as we walked around, picked some rocks up. These rocks were to represent the Māori of the partners, the history, the community and the council. They were transported to that place up there, and if you're out there sometime, I'll take you and talk to you more about what they meant. I don't believe anyone charged us for the cost of making that happen. And then lastly, on Tuesday this week, I was fortunate to listen to Peter Gluckman talk about the challenges our community and the world will face post-COVID, particularly for social cohesion. He highlighted now more than ever the value cross-community engagement that is achieved through participation in recreation and sport at a place like Ngā Puna is critical to our individual and community wellbeing. The team and what we achieved so far is awesome. Dumeke.
Thank you. And yeah, thanks very much indeed for taking us through the chronology of what happened, and clearly some big challenges along the way, but your closing remarks really tell the story of collaboration and what we've really achieved here. So thank you and well done. Let's now move to some questions. Tim.
It's not really a question. I just you forgot to mention one person, which was yourself, David, and from the very start, outstanding. And there were some real challenges there without question. But for me, as I mentioned at the opening with regards to Rowley, Hill Morton and Hoonhay, really some challenging communities. But with all those different sports there, those young people are learning different things and different skills, even being trained how to run properly, which helps them on the league field and other places, and that hand to eye and other things. So it's more than what it was meant to be, and that's a great legacy that you and your team have left. So thank you very much. And it's not even in my ward or election year.
So thanks for saying that, but genuinely it was easy to do this because we had the framework, we had the strategic priorities about how we should work together within council, how we should work with the community. You folk have set that, ELT represent that, that's the leadership that our team was given, and we just did what we were asked.
Thank you. Any further questions? Jimmy?
For comments, yeah. I remember.
So have we moved beyond questions?
Okay,
Nobody's got questions.
Question,
so
yeah.
Jimmy, make some comments.
Yeah, particularly like to follow the team, but like to acknowledge the staff done an amazing job. It's not only the council do this one, actually it's working together with partnership with all those the sports club and some other stakeholders. I remember even I myself, I attended soul turning, blazing and opening. One day it's very cold, we was there, Kahara, have blazing. Oh, very cold. We never forget this one. But in our inner being, we feel very warm, very hot, because this kind of Olympic standard, those athletes, the kind of the sports field, as well as some multi-function, multi-purpose the sports field. So I do appreciate the staff done an amazing job. Also, I'm very proud. I remember Tim and myself, we are in the hearing panel to listen to the people. Even eventually it's conditional, but we are poor. I think at the moment everyone, is appreciated these sports. It is probably South Island biggest one. All right, fantastic. Thank you, staff.
Thank you. So I'm now treating this that we're in debate because that's the nature of the comments people have been making. Is there anything anybody would like to add? Yanni?
I had a question around the sustainability.
Sorry.
We did move from questions quite seamlessly into debate. If you've got a question, I will allow it because it wasn't obvious that that's what had happened.
Sorry, I was just, so I know that, I mean, those of us who are not aware of the project know how hard you work to recycle other facilities' equipment. So really, appreciate that. I guess the one issue around water reuse was something that came through in the closeout report. And I just wondered if there's anything that we've learnt since we've opened the facility around, would we do something different in that space?
I think there's potential for us to do something different with hockey surfaces in the future. Certainly the way that those spaces are moving with regards to waterless hockey turfs, or having the hockey turfs in like a bath, so that you can recycle the water, so the water comes up from underneath as opposed to being sprayed on. So there's lots of investigations going on that for now, for the next Olympics, and we'll probably set the benchmark. And so for future developments, that approach wasn't available at that time. We definitely watch, we monitor every single drop of water that goes onto that space. Hockey pay for the excess water they use as a motivator for not. They're probably moving away from cannons to hand watering because it's more efficient. And so there are levers that we're constantly pulling about how we operate it now, and in future design for New Zealand and Christchurch, there'll be new changes to it as well.
So I guess, I mean, I don't want to take away anything from the amazing work that was done and what was really difficult circumstances, and I too want to acknowledge David and the role that your team has played and the staff that have been involved. I think for me, the two kind of issues where, it may be that we can get, as part of a separate process, a degree of greater understanding is around accessibility in terms of design, and also the whole issue of, with these massive areas that we use a lot of water, what we can do to learn and to look at water reuse in terms of rainwater or grey water. So, but I just want to acknowledge this was a really difficult project that staff, and particularly David, worked really hard to bring together in challenging circumstances, and we are very fortunate to have a wonderful facility. So thank you.
Thank you. Anything anybody else wants to add? Anne?
I want to reinforce everything that people have said, David, particularly for your leadership. Thank you for that, what you've done, but also to acknowledge the hard work that you did as a team to bring people along with you, and the number of times you invited the surrounding community onto site to explain to them what was happening and to involve them. And I mean, there are still issues, as you know, but it was a very good process. So thank you.
I just do want to echo that it was hundreds of us. It wasn't me. Yeah. It was hundreds.
So, just in closing, David, certainly acknowledging the role that you played, certainly acknowledging the role that many other staff, contractors, subcontractors, people involved with the groups played. Darren, the role that you played in oversight of this part of the programme. And obviously there were lots of different parts of the work that went into this within this organisation. Obviously the two of you leading this, but many staff supporting you in doing that. So we've got a very thorough report in front of us. I think it makes it very clear that there was a huge amount of work went into this, supporting us in our decision making, but supporting the partnership with the other groups and all of that work to bring people together. I remember the early stages of this, when some of that work was looking very challenging. There were some good opportunities there, but certainly some challenges. And the challenges, again, that we had to deal with in the middle part of the project with some of those adverse weather events and a lot of water. Certainly are things that I haven't forgotten about. But despite all of that, we've grabbed the opportunity and we've got something which is a real success now there. But again, in front of us, we've got a very thorough report that tells us the way that we got there. So thank you for the work that you've done. Thanks to the people that have supported you, and thank you for bringing the report to us today.
You're very welcome. I'll
put the motion. All those in favour, say aye. Against? That's carried. Oh, did we have a mover and a second? Sorry, Anne, yep. And Tim. Yep, so Anne and Tim. Sorry, my apologies. We'll do that again then, now that it's been moved and seconded. All those in favour say aye. Against? That's carried. Thank you. All right, so now moving